That was a problem early on, and I took emery paper to them and took them down to raw metal kind of. Because it's medium wall and because I'm only pulling one handle, one point, I'm not pulling a double, I don't really need to do any A or B locations or any angles. I do need to gather a little bit, so you see I've allowed it to compress a bit, but only that slight bit. I'm also holding it downhill in this angle, so that gravity is helping it compress a little. Again, if you do that to an extreme, you'll soften your handle and lose control. Everything I say is true by degree. Or false by degree, I suppose. Now I've stretched a little bit, but I hadn't committed to the point. I just stretched that out. I'm letting that area collapse a little. And if it twists, untwist it. Don't panic. If you've heated enough glass, your window of opportunity is open wide enough that you have time to do what you have to do. Don't let it be an anxious situation.
Speaking of anxious situations, didn't everyone's schedule say accidentally over to me? I actually slept till my alarm. That's first.
And we know what's coming next for you. So here's this joke. Kenny asked this morning, curious as he is, there's like a porthole in the wall behind that oven.
Separately is because for like the last 10 years they've been collecting the Moretti scraps, and one day, who knows when that day is going to be, they've been separating it out and are going to make like Moretti melts.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
I don't know when that is, but I'm trying to be here for that. That'd be so cool.
You're gonna make them ready what?
Melts, like
okay.
Like
bullets?
Little
Billets?
no, little crucibles.
Oh, okay.
You see they're doing melts of borosilicate now?
Yeah.
Like gathering it like those furnace scrap? That's crazy. Oh wow, that's a lot of heat.
That's gotta be a hot room.
So what size is that one?
This, I think, is 19 millimeter and it's heavy wall.
Okay. And what are we going to be doing with that?
I'm going to chip away at our list this morning. I'm going to make a fish.
Right.
And I decided I'm going to make it on smaller diameter heavy wall because I think I like to. I shouldn't speak in advance in case my demo doesn't work out that way. I'm going to shoot for a completely colored fish rather than color on transparent.
Oh, nice.
There's that one. And how do you seal? Now we go to how do you seal a blowpipe onto the point?
Does anyone do that?
Well, I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
You
do?
Yeah. And
How
then,
do you do that?
well, you can pull a thicker point,
Right there.
but that's kind of a bother for the most part. If you need a blowpipe that bad and the piece is that big, then just seal a blowpipe on. The other thing on a point like I could probably get a blow. You want me to show you? I can put a poke.
Yeah, I do. Because I was wondering that yesterday.
Because that's the thing. As a learner, I need to see it. I don't need to hear it. So as an instructor, I'd rather show you than tell you. I guess it just relates.
So are we making the fish now?
This is a teapot. I'm kind of doing
teapot.
it
Okay.
because you tend to do a spot and then you have to wait. I'm doing a teapot and a fish kind of
Okay.
back and forth. Everything
All right,
with
cool.
That you can kind of. So as with most things, you can exercise a technique and then you can execute it well. And maybe it matters, maybe it doesn't. But I want a nice round, clean hole. I don't want to just blow this out. I can open it up, but then I have a bunch of schmutz on one side, and so I'm heating just the tip. It will collapse down into a flat like that implosion started yesterday. Then I'll tack onto that flat area, pull it out, and remove that material. And I do that a couple times to get an extra thin zone. I've got a couple options. Rather than, I could break that off, and then when I put it in the fire, I'm open, which is not a bad idea. But I'm not going to do that because that's pretty obvious. So I'll do the less obvious way. Once I've thinned out the bulk, I can also do this. Now that, you're off center obviously because you're not rotating. And that would be a problem if I just blew a hole. That's why I got all that material out. It'll look off center at first, but what you're looking at is so thin, when you roll it into fire, it's always gonna melt back. Now here also, we're at a real world application of something we've discussed. Ideally, this is the tube that's going on. This is the diameter of the hole I'd have. So I'm fine tuning it. If this hole's a little bit small, I can really heat the edges and they'll get bigger. Or I can keep that whole conical transition and maybe taper it down a little with the paddle to make the hole a little bit smaller. There's still a difference between doing it and doing it well. And just, I would have you always appreciate that. And, you know, but to make an icicle, you want a hefty rod. You know, don't get bogged down in specifics. Hefty, I don't know, half inch, 12 millimeters, 15 millimeters. Not so big as to be hard to handle, you know what I mean? But something like that, about a half inch. And we're gonna melt the ball. You know, we've talked about how to make a round, and to get it round, you have to keep the outer part hot, and when it's bigger, you go with this, you lower your handle to work against gravity. In this case, we're gonna be more casual. We're just gonna melt the gather on the end. Have a handle ready. When this is ready, it's too late to look for a handle. Have that ready. And also have, in your red toolbox, there's a large pair of mashers. Have those ready. Yeah.
Speaking of tools, where's Scotty Griffin getting set up?
In the
in the
cafeteria
lunchroom.
usually, yeah.
At lunch, yeah, at lunchtime.
Okay, here we go. I didn't kill myself making it round, but there is some length there, you know. I'm actually even gonna hang it down a little bit. Now I'm gonna mash it. Now already, I've said it's a timing exercise, and we're already seeing the first issue associated. It's still glowing when I'm done mashing. Mashing doesn't take any longer than saying it. Mash. On off like that. If there's a tendency for uncertainty and so forth, you kind of look at it and assess it. And these are heat sinks. Your glass is freezing on you all the time you're in there. So did I pause too long? Was I quick enough? The indication is it's still glowing after you're done mashing. Now, the difference between doing a simple basic thing and doing it well is this. This is straight this way, right? It's also straight this way.
Cool.
Which is a function of this hand's rotation, and also takes a steady hand here. You need to not grab and stretch or push, or, so now, no, it isn't necessary that it be straight this way. So don't beat yourself up over it. I just want you aware of what the ultimate target would be if you want to really refine these techniques. Now, having done all that, I probably should just take this off and throw it away, because the timing, the other issue of timing, the ultimate issue of timing on this job is already gone. I've lost it. This is cold, relatively. This is down in that 1,000-degree range, which for this exercise is cold. But that's all right. I'm going to reheat it. When you reheat a disc, rotation is not the thing to do now. You'll just get the edges hot. So now, for those of you who hate to rotate, you'll love this, because you get to go. You don't have to worry about hot spots. Your mission is to create 2 of them, one on each side. There, now we've got a little life in this thing again. I'm going to seal on a rod. Note that I did not take any pains to warm the rod up. Note the angle that I'm holding it at to heat. The weak link is going to be close to where the rod is attached, probably. I'm stretching. Now I'm going to twist. And voila. If you stretch more, you can probably create a little bit of devitrification in there. And this one, because I messed the timing up and had to reheat, actually looks like I made it upside down. I think that's the top of this.
Oh, I thought that was supposed to be the top.
No, this is supposed to be the top.
Okay.
The reason being, and it does matter, it's not like one of my ornaments where after I'm done I decide which is the top and the bottom. It should work out that this side is the top, because when I had that disc, and then I put a handle on the disc, I've got a 5mm handle contact on this side and a 12mm contact on this side. It should naturally taper off of this side, and it will when the timing is right. So now you've seen it, I'll show you again. This time my emphasis will be on how the timing can work out. Full disclosure, it may not work out. But you need maybe you need more rest than you think. You know, because when you stretch, you don't want to thin it out. And when you stretch, you don't want to float, you don't want gravity playing a role. So, let me get the surfaces together. Now, I'm going to heat to the point of malleable. Oh, a good, something at least a ½ inch of length. A little more won't be, better to heat more than not enough, because you can always strip off the excess. So you see how much, a couple of flame widths at least, if that's a more comfortable reference. I'm squeezing it in just a little bit. I don't want to ball it up, but I am condensing it. Now I'm trying to see the degree to which it's not even glowing. I stretch, I bend, and then I raise those hands. And so you start out with this shepherd's loop kind of an effect. And from there, you're stripping off excess.
Just dawned on me that you do it exactly like wire wrapping. It's that first bend that I forget about.
Now it's just heat and gravity, kind of like making that box that we did early on as an exercise. I'll bring this end down close. Now I'm not going to continue to heat this side, but I'm going to heat over here, the opposite side, to bring that the rest of the way around. I think I have contact. Yeah, I have enough contact. And so I'm going to sweat that in. Be prepared, it's going to be very frantic and crazy at this stage. Keep moving through the fire. Don't get in the fire and stay there. Keep moving through it and angle it down a little bit. Because it's, you know, if you're here, gravity's got this, you know, there are fewer degrees that gravity is fighting you if you angle it down. Now it's larger than I want, but we talk about this. We can just roll it in a fire, get it all at the same malleable temperature, and it will gather in on itself and shrink up. Just like making a sphere on solid rock, it'll be rounder if you hold it this way, or more oval if you hold it down. You're working with gravity just the same.
Could you do that one more time with that flipping up?
The flipping up, you mean early?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can make another one. So there you go, and you can well imagine that's a serviceable
See,
loop.
he's very difficult to videotape.
Yeah. But that's a loop. Another tech, you just make a bunch, you can just have a pile of loops on your bench and stick them onto your piece, whether it's a necklace or an icicle or whatever. If you do that, when you're pulling out, don't try to heat right up against the loop. Leave a stump, and then that's probably a good idea anyway. Right. But if you don't want it, pick away at it after.
Turn to the side. Wait a minute.
If you try to heat and get it flush right away, you'll distort your loop. So, and then you can get it right there. But I'm not going to make a loop out of that. Be fussy with what you're starting with, you know? Anything worth doing is worth doing right. You know, there's something to that old slogan.
It's garbage in, garbage out.
Right.
Giggle.
So give yourself every advantage you can to have a nice starting point. Get a couple of flame widths at least malleable. And what I'm doing, it's hot enough. I'm still in the fire because I'm opening up my window of opportunity because I need it open wide for this. You don't want to get just hot enough. You need time to do all this. And there's a difference between getting it hotter. I don't get it hotter. I just stay in there a little longer. I want that heat to really soak all the way through. I think a lot of times a common phenomenon with plus experiences, we get it hot, we see the glow, we come out, but we only got the surface that hot. And so here we go. surfaces, but don't be shy on the heat you use. A lot of heat will make a good seal first time, and that's advantageous. You can get this refined to where you don't need supported structure in between, but it's a delicate temperature balance. So supporting structure is a good idea. And in this case, here's what it looks like. Put a rod on my handle, stretch it out. I just keep heating the rod, stretching until it covers the distance to get to where I want to, to the thing I'm trying to support. Now, don't think just, okay, he tacks on a rod, stretches it over. There's no small technique involved in doing even that. It's just a utilitarian little thing.
How
But that's
securely attached to the pedals are you? Is that
securely enough.
Thanks for clearing that up.
If they're cracking, they're not secure enough.
For the bridge pieces, you mean?
Yeah, you don't want them cracking because you think your piece has support, but if the bridge is cracked, you don't have support. They'll just shift anyway, and the crack will pull apart. This is the kind of thing, if you're going to get into doing this, have 20 little 4mm rods lined up on the front. Don't be.
The top is the back of the plow?
Yes.
Wow. Cool, right?
I was seeing you were having a little eureka moment over there, but I wasn't sure what it was.
And I thought you were going to be like bending them. I didn't get it either. I've done this exact thing, except that it's not as big.
This is key. Now, this is where I'm laminating surfaces. So I'm gonna heat through, but I'm gonna press this into the fire, really get it hot and slam it down on there. Your contact surface, don't be shy, squeeze them together. And if you can do that, you had your temperature right, because it's a really thin thing, I'm telling you to squeeze, You're feeding it into the flame.
It's like you're painting it out.
Yeah. Indeed, look.
And you don't need support structures for the leaves because they're laminated.
Yeah, and they've got a lot of purchase. They put that whole laminated surface.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. I've seen a lot of flower demos.
Where am I?
Yeah.
It's all market. Tell her I told you so.
Now we are going to make flowers.
Absolutely liquefy. I would normally not get quite that hot for that long.
Oh, I would.
And now, she's thinking, well, me? Why don't you? What are you afraid of me?
Oh, wait a minute.